All right, this is episode 9, and today we are going to be talking about a very polarizing subject, a polarizing topic in the entrepreneurial community. Today we are talking about risk, when to use it, how to go through it, how to fight through it, because it's going to inevitably cause stress. But what you're told about risk right now, I'm going to tell you, is wrong. Now, let's look at the opposing arguments, okay? So you've got the super conservative side where you have to have your business plan and you have to have the capital and you have to have the I's dotted, the T's crossed. You have to have everything analyzed every which way from Sunday. But that can lead to analysis paralysis, which means you're not going to be first to market. Someone might beat you there, or you're spending way too much money up front on getting all of that stuff done when it wasn't going to work out anyway because you didn't have all of the right things in place. So let's look at the other side of the coin. You know what? Let's just bet the farm. It takes money to make money, and just roll the dice. I believe in me and I'm going to make it happen. I've done that way too many times. I've also failed way too many times. But there's a reason why the greats say fail fast. Because think about it. We want to know, we need that feedback of, okay, is it time to move on to something new? Is it time to adjust something? Is this not working? How do I become better? We need to fail as fast as possible. So with that being said, I have kind of adjusted my way of thinking into this risk dial. So if you're starting out and you want to become an entrepreneur, I really think that you should adopt this philosophy. It means if you are the only one dependent on your decisions, that is the time where you can risk the most. That's where you can bet your proverbial farm. But if you have kids, you have to take your risk dial and dial it down a notch because you have mouths to feed. Based on your decisions, you have people who depend on you. If you have a spouse, your risk dial comes down a notch. Your first employee, your risk dial comes down a notch. The more people that you have depending on you for their livelihood, that means you have to adjust your risk dial accordingly, which means you can't play with everyone's future. When you wake up in the morning, if you have people depending on you on whether or not they're going to be able to pay their bills, feed their kids, get their kids to college, buy a car, buy a house, you make sure you're doing right by them. Make sure your risk dial goes up and down. Now, if you want to take all the risk in the world, you have to talk to your team. You have to make sure they're on board. You have to make sure they know what you're risking because you need to take this into consideration. You cannot bet everyone's farm. You are only allowed to bet your farm. So let's think about that. In 2008, that's what happened. You had these giant monster greedy companies that were playing with their employees' farms. They were betting everything. They were betting their farm, their future, their employees' farm, their employees' future. And we saw how that turned out. We had families destroyed. Again, my podcast is about my life lessons. My podcast is about things that I have had as challenges. Things that I have had to struggle with. And you know what? Until I was honest with my team and I let them know, hey, we're struggling. We're not okay. We're going to need to not only bet my farm, but for us to make it, I need to bet your farm as well. So putting that into perspective, what I'm trying to say is people will fight for their farms. They won't always fight for your farm. So if you give people the opportunity to buy in, if you give people the opportunity to step up, now a lot of people want to put their money where their mouth is. They want to feel needed. They want to feel appreciated. So if they know they're doing something great and they can be the hero of the day and you're giving them the opportunity, they'll take it. And they'll also be the best team member you can possibly have. Why? Because they have skin in the game. Now, just to be clear, not everybody has money to bet as their farm, but their farm could be their time. But at least they know what they're fighting for. At least they know what's going on. Going back to the rabbit getting too big, that's podcast number 2. It talks about what happens when you need to score a touchdown. Now, you only need to score a touchdown if the other team's winning and you have one play left. If you're starting out the game, you want to score a touchdown. But if your team doesn't know that you need to score a touchdown, they're not going to run as hard or as fast. So what I'm trying to say is when you're talking to your team with this risk dial and you're going to keep them on your team and you're going to make a big bet, let them know. If they know you're betting everything and that their job depends on this decision, give them the opportunity to either leave and go to another job or fight like hell to make this one be magnificent. Make this be the Super Bowl. Make that game-winning catch. Put your people in a position to succeed. Give them all the right tools. Give them all the right information. But not everyone is up to the challenge. So if someone needs to leave and they say, whoa, I'm not cut out for this, let them go. They're not going to be good on the team anyway. Stop trying to keep people that don't get the vision, that don't understand. They're only in it for themselves. If they only show up for a check, then let them go. This risk dial needs to be company-wide. And for the things that you are dealing with, battling with behind the scenes that you can't tell your people, well, then you can't take those risks. If it's only you that it's affecting, then cool, take as much risk as you want. But if you have people, an organization, a family who depend on your decisions for how their life happens, you have a responsibility to them to make their life as great as possible. And if you do that for them, they will make your life as great as possible. This has been the Final Percent Podcast, and I can't tell you how much it just really means to me that you guys are taking this journey with me. Again, this is my journey. These are lessons that I have gone through and in some cases still going through. So if I can help you achieve your final percent faster, let me know if these are helping. Let me know if you have any questions or you want me to cover a specific topic. I just love sharing. I love helping. Thank you so much. I will see you next time.